Hello guys and gals, welcome back to another episode of Haunted Gaming. This time we do March's creepypasta of the month called We Are Twisted. Now before we begin, I'm going to do this word for word. It's written in a way where it should be read word for word. It's got all these diary entries, so without talking too much, let's begin. I am a big fan of video games. Classic, new, bad, good, name it, and I'll love it. Then something happened that made me rethink things. I live in San Francisco, California. I have a job working at home designing character designs for future games for a company named Sega. I love Sega and their games, but I'm a slightly bigger fan for Nintendo. I tried to get a job at Nintendo, but they denied me for my lack of experience, for I have graduated from college 2 years ago. I was designing a new character for a new Sonic the Hedgehog game that Sega hasn't revealed to the public yet, and was meant to be a surprise announcement 5 months from now. I was designing a new Dr. Eggman robot when I saw my laptop was running low on charge. I quickly got up to go get my battery charger and came back to see that I was too late, and it went dead, and I lost all my design progress. I punched my wall out of anger and fell onto my couch. I sat there for hours before I fell asleep. All my work gone. While I was asleep, I had nightmares of my favorite video game characters turning evil and being killed. I woke up at around 5:30 a.m., sweating and all the pillows on my couch on the floor. I had to get up and go back to Sega headquarters in 20 minutes. I was already dressed, but my hair was a mess. I fixed my hair up, took my laptop, and left my home. A man quit today because he didn't get a promotion after he supposedly worked here for 4 years without a single one. I recognized him from somewhere. Probably walked by him a couple times in my entire year of working here. My boss came to me after saying that the man threw a Wii at him and had a bruise on his cheek. And I heard security trying to fight someone behind me, probably the man. My boss said that they had no use of the small single Wii, so they gave it to me to bring home. I was excited, of course. My next income was in 1 week, and I was saving up to buy a Wii of my own. But now I got one for free, and a week sooner too. The day was long and boring, and as soon as I was told, I ran out the door and went to buy Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword for my brand new Wii. When I came home, I was too excited and dropped it into the ground. I panicked and then plugged it in to see if it still worked, and sure enough, it did. There was a game already in the Wii when I turned it on, Super Smash Bros. Melee to be exact. I weighed my options and decided to test out Super Mario Bros. First. When I turned it on, I heard a sound which sounded like a laugh from Bowser, but a bit longer in length, and the voice was a little deeper in tone. The game skipped the intro and went to the title screen. It was dim and brown. I pressed start to hear a crying Mario falling off a cliff from the original Mario 64, but a bit more desperate. The game lagged intensely. I tried to ignore it, but it was so slow that it took me 2 minutes to go to Versus mode. The characters consisted of Dr. Mario and a pink Pikachu. I laughed and gagged for whatever reason, thinking that it was a joke disc. With a tear in my eye, I chose Pikachu. There was only one stage too, what looked like the original wallpaper of Windows XP. The music was just a series of clicks. The game stopped lagging and I used Thundershock as Pikachu. Normal animation happened, and it did exactly 743% of damage to Dr. Mario. I laughed even more until I had seen Dr. Mario crying and coughing. I stopped and stared, and Pikachu ran off the screen, and a loud Pika happened. Not distorted or anything, just normal. Dr. Mario was still coughing and then collapsed. I was a bit worried, and all of a sudden I had a power outage. I waited 10 minutes, and then, later and sooner enough, the lights came back on. Not the Wii, though. I decided to pack up and go to bed. I decided to take the day off to play on the Wii some more. I was anxious last night in my sleep, wanting to play again to figure out why the characters were like that. I put the game back in and tried to start the Wii again. It took a bit, but it started to work. I played Super Smash Bros. Again, and this time Wolf-Link was unlocked. From what, Twilight Princess? I was confused, but also excited to try it out. I chose to go against Pikachu this time, since Dr. Mario was a bit depressing to watch last time. I chose the Windows XP place again, and the match started, but Wolf-Link didn't move. Pikachu was jumping in place and the game froze. Dr. Mario appeared on the screen and the game unfroze. He coughed up a green liquid and threw a pill at Wolf-Link, and I was thrown off screen. Pikachu attacked, but before making contact was set on fire. The game froze and went back to the character select screen. Zelda was unlocked. I played as her this time, and then everything happened the same way again. The next characters unlocked were Roy, Mewtwo, Pichu, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, Sonic. Sonic appeared, and when I chose him, the game screen went black, and a more evil Bowser laugh filled the room. I was legitimately scared from there. The next thing the screen showed was brutal. Dr. Mario coughing vigorously, Peach laying face first in a pool of water, unmoving. Pichu swinging from a windmill, unmoving, Luigi with a knife sticking out his side, and then Bowser with Mario looking at everyone. Laughing. They had a text box appeared saying, "We are twisted. You too." I turned my Wii off and quickly switched the game. I sat on the SSB game and sat in front of my TV, trying to comprehend what I saw. I shook my head and started Skyward Sword. No intro, dim title screen, already there was a file named Hirogami. I selected it and showed a Link with a Skyward Sword pierced in his arm, falling through the sky. It lasted a minute and then crashed. Screen went black and what appeared was a bloody, splatted Link. I screamed and reached for the plug. Then text appeared on screen. "We are twisted. Join us." I screamed again and unplugged it, and heard a screaming Link quickly before. I decided to put the games on my counter and go to bed. I visited my friend to borrow money to go buy more games. I bought from a nearby Walmart 3 games, Sonic Unleashed, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and a game I highly anticipated waiting for, Mario Party 8. When I came home, I put in Sonic Unleashed. Another dim title screen had appeared. I started thinking that I shouldn't start playing this without a friend over, but decided against it. The screen quickly flashed a picture of Sonic being stabbed with a drill. After that, the last level of the game started. No cutscenes, no file select, just the last level. Sonic was a werehog and was holding a bloody drill, and Tails was lying on the ground just normally. No blood or gore there. He was breathing too. I walked into the next room where Sonic all of a sudden screamed and started stabbing himself with the drill. He turned normal and was laying on the ground with a random force lifted him into the air, and he was set on fire and thrown into the wall. I had a tear in my eye. Text appeared on the screen again. "We are twisted. Stop trying to resist." I knew something was up. I tried out SSBB. All the characters were turned into zombies in a match, and then Taboo was standing over them and shot them with a beam, and they were all bleeding, and text appeared. "We are twisted, twisted." Next was Mario Party 8. There was only one board, oddly enough the Windows XP place. Pink Pikachu and Dr. Mario was in the background. All the characters on screen were crying, and every time they moved, Bowser laughed and they were struck with lightning and cried more. Eventually Yoshi died, then Peach, then Mario, then everyone died, and a text appearing again saying, "We are twisted. Game over." I screamed and then quietly escaped my house. I took the games to throw them away, then decided to show it to my best friend so he is an eyewitness. I was on my way to share my tale with him. We played, and I was scared, but somehow the games played as any other normal game did. I was very confused, but somewhat relieved. We played until 7. Then I went home. When I opened my door, a raccoon ran out, hissed at me, and my Wii was knocked over and a new game was left there. On the disc it said Hirogami. I put the disc in my Wii and turned it on, and a light flashed. I instantly fell asleep. The screen was still on when I woke up. On the screen was Mario. He screamed and his hat and hair burned in flames. He cried and started to cough. Green liquid came out of his mouth. He screamed, then a man popped up. It was just a video, just like it was recorded off a cheap camera. It was the man who quitted. He punched a wall and he threw a Sonic doll on the ground. Then he said these words, "Sega, I hope you enjoyed these games." And then he grabbed a knife and cut his arm badly. I almost threw up. I backed up from the screen and looked at my mirror behind me. I seen in the mirror what looked a little like the man. I started to have the feeling of hating Sega. I had a beard just like the man starting to grow on my face. I picked up my Sonic doll, my hand trembling, and threw it into my sink, turned on the garbage disposal, and after that my power went out. And so did my love for video games. I quit my job at Sega and took apart my Wii to see what was inside. Nothing but a jumble of wires. I have it in my closet right now and will not look into it further. I am studying to be a lawyer now, and now I'm preparing to move into a nearby college for this. Goodbye, gaming. I will never miss you. So this was Creepypasta of the month? Really? I mean, I don't really know what to say about this. I didn't think it was great or anything. I mean, sure, it had the concept that I found sort of unique. almost, like the concept that a cycle of people hating Sega, with the employee throwing the Wii at the employer, possibly committing suicide in the end, and the cycle would begin again with the player hating Sega as well, except not to the same extent as a person before. It felt sort of like Funny Mouth in a sense, except it really wasn't a repetition, it seemed, of the character, at least not as drastically. I mean, hey, the concept was somewhat original, and the setting was also unique as well. Now, as far as cliches go, to name one off the bat would be I love video gaming and now I hate them intro, and, even the crying characters is one. I feel as though the I love video gaming but hate them now shouldn't really have to be referenced each and every time. I mean, it really doesn't matter, as the tale is more about the events, and this inclusion really doesn't help the developments in any way. I mean, it just confused me in the beginning, and it felt like a tacked-on effort to start a creepypasta. I mean, at least with Squidward's suicide, it started off somewhat similarly, but got directly into the tale, and that was quite a good way to begin. But hey, at least it didn't start off with a nostalgia fetish or anything. But some of the events were a little weird and hard to understand. I mean, the player just had bad dreams for no reason, not questioning them at all once waking up. Then the employee throwing a Wii at the boss. Really? I mean, the guy just throws a Wii at the boss? It seems kind of hilarious and somewhat random, to be honest. And then the whole killing and corruption of all the game characters in video games, it seemed tacked on, and all, after all that, crying characters, Sonic drilling himself and being set on fire, not really questioning this stuff, and even when playing with a friend, it suddenly turns normal, no questioning. I just don't get it. I mean, I would be pretty confused as to what went on, and I'd be questioning something, or at least documenting the stuff to show the world. I don't know what to say, but this felt kind of jumbled and weird, and honestly, I couldn't really find this really plausible, and that's saying much. And at the end, the player just ditches video games. I mean, we've seen worse things happen. People don't quit video gaming. It was a weird ending, and the player basically just moved on without really questioning the events of what happened. I mean, there were no answers, which I would find serious, confusing, and just plain odd if this kind of stuff happened to me. The outcome just didn't seem believable. Maybe the player is just repressing this and just wants to move on and forget gaming. Who knows? Maybe this is setting up a sequel. The line, Wii is twisted as well, reminded me of Mario Kart 64 Driven, and was, it was okay. I mean, yeah, it was referenced a bunch of times, but it got more revealing and creepier each time, asking the vague questions and whatnot, and also being a pun as well. It was a nice touch. In the end, it was a unique creepypasta. I just didn't really enjoy it. It was written well, minus some grammar issues and technicals, but put that aside, it had a somewhat unique concept, but it felt random at times, and the gore and blood was, to me, a little too much, and I guess if it was changed, it would be better than it is now? I mean, what would you rate this creepypasta, and what would you change to make it better? This has been another episode of Haunted Gaming, and if you like what you saw, then like, comment, and subscribe. This is me, Mudahar, and I'm out.